Let me tell you about a land where history doesn't just whisper, it screams from every stone, where the air carries the scent of saffron and rebellion, where empires have risen and fallen like waves on the Bosphorus. This is Turkey, and its story begins not with a bang, but with a tear, a single drop of water sliding down an ancient column, in the depths of Hagia Sophia that's been weeping for 15 centuries. They call it the tears of Byzantium, and if these walls could talk, they'd tell tales that would rewrite everything you thought you knew about civilization. This land doesn't just have history, it metabolizes it. The same limestone that once formed the bones of Roman temples, now powders the dough of cement cellars. The DNA of Ottoman sultans likely runs through the veins of that fisherman casting his line off Galata Bridge, and in Cappadocia's underground cities, the same air shafts that saved Christians from Persian armies, now cool the cellars of boutique hotels. Turkey isn't a country that preserves its past, it recycles it with brutal efficiency. Picture this, it's 1180 BC, and in the ruined city we now call Troy, a Mycenaean soldier drops his sword in the heat of battle. That bronze blade, recently unearthed by archaeologists, bears inscriptions proving Homer's Iliad wasn't just poetry, it was reportage. The very sword that may have slain Hector still exists, its edge nicked from parrying blows. But Troy is just the opening act. Venture east to Hattusa, where the Hittites built a capital with walls 6 kilometers long, its gates guarded by stone lions with eyes that follow you. In their archives, we found cuneiform tablets detailing history's first recorded peace treaty, signed with Egyptian pharaoh Ramses II, after a battle so bloody the Nile supposedly ran red for days. Now come with me to Ephesus at the height of Roman power, where the marble streets gleam so brightly they force slaves to shade their masters' eyes. In the terrace houses, recently opened to the public, erotic frescoes show parties that would make Caligula blush. Nobles reclining on couches while serving girls pour wine from glass pitchers shaped like phalluses. The medical tools found here tell another story: bronze scalpels for surgery, and opium pipes to numb the pain. This was Rome's wild east, where the Library of Celsus stood not just as a temple of knowledge, but as a clever ruse. Its ornate facade hid a secret tunnel system, used to smuggle prostitutes into the bedrooms of senators. Fast forward to 537 AD in Constantinople, where Emperor Justinian has just completed Hagia Sophia, the greatest church in Christendom. What they don't tell you in history books is how he did it, by taxing olive farmers into starvation, then using their daughters as human measuring tools. The church's famous dome, wide enough to fit the Statue of Liberty lying down, was designed using a revolutionary technique. 40 windows at its base create a halo of light so intense, worshippers swore they saw angels in the golden mosaics. But look closer at those tiles, each one was pressed between the thighs of slave girls to warm the adhesive, their body heat making the gold bond permanently to the glass. The Ottomans arrived in 1453 not with subtlety, but with the largest cannon ever built. Mehmed the Conqueror's basilica could fire 1,500-pound stone balls over a mile, shattering Constantinople's walls that had stood impregnable for 1,100 years. In Topkapi Palace, the new rulers installed a execution fountain, where heads would roll into a basin designed to muffle the sound, because even killers appreciate good acoustics. The Janissaries, the empire's elite soldiers, were all kidnapped Christian boys brainwashed into Islamic fanaticism, through a brutal 14-year training regimen that included sleep deprivation and hallucinogenic drugs. Their loyalty was so absolute, they would bite into cyanide capsules sewn into their uniforms rather than surrender. Now let's descend into Cappadocia's underground cities, not the sanitized tourist tunnels, but the real labyrinths that plunge 18 stories deep. In Derinkuyu, archaeologists found ventilation shafts so precise they maintained 62 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, stables with tethering rings still stained with animal sweat, and cruciform churches where Christians hid from Persian armies for months at a time. The most chilling discovery: a 3-ton rolling stone door that could be operated by one child, their last line of defense. Today, billionaires convert these caves into $5 million hotels, preserving the frescoes of saints next to heated infinity pools. The Ottoman kitchen was its secret weapon. Suleiman the Magnificent's chefs invented doner kebab to feed armies on the march, layers of lamb fat and meat stacked on vertical spits so they could be cooked while riding into battle. Turkish coffee became an intelligence tool. Spies wrote messages in the foam that would disappear when drunk, leaving the cipher in the ground. And baklava, that flaky masterpiece, caused a 2013 diplomatic incident, when Greece and Turkey fought at the UN over its origins, revealing that the Greek Dessert actually came from Gaziantep's pistachio mafia, who still control 80% of the global trade, through a network of smuggling tunnels under the Syrian border. Modern Istanbul is a palimpsest of secrets. Beneath the Galata Bridge, fishermen whisper about Byzantine treasure still hidden in submerged palace vaults. In the Grand Bazaar's back alleys, rug merchants use Fibonacci sequences to calculate prices, a trick learned from 13th century mathematician Fibonacci who studied here. And that iconic skyline, it's disappearing. 500 Ottoman mansions demolished since 2010 to build shopping malls, their beautiful hand-painted ceilings crushed into landfill. But the true soul of Turkey lives in places like Balat, where a 90-year-old Greek baker still makes bread using yeast strains, passed down since Byzantine times, or in Van, where Kurdish grandmothers teach children banned languages in underground schools, their textbooks hidden beneath floorboards, and perhaps most hauntingly, in that weeping column at Hagia Sophia, where scientists finally discovered the source of its moisture, not divine intervention, but an underground river that flows only when the water table reaches a precise level, as if the earth itself mourns what's been lost. I found the perfect metaphor for Turkey in an unlikely place, the basilica cistern's Medusa columns. Some Byzantine engineer, faced with a shortage of marble, took two pagan sculptures, flipped them upside down, and used them as bases for Christian pillars. That's Turkey in a nutshell. Pragmatic, irreverent, turning gods into furniture when necessary. As I stood on the Theodosian walls at sunset, those same fortifications that held against 1,000 attacks, a street vendor offered me something unexpected. Not the usual tourist trinkets, but a handful of Byzantine-era mosaic tiles he'd found in his garden. 5 lira each, he said, or 3 for 10. And that's when the final truth hit me. In Turkey, even history has a negotiable price. The land that gave us the concept of zero in mathematics, courtesy of Seljuk scholars, also understands the zero-sum game of empires. Every Alexander has his Attila. Every Justinian meets his Mehmed. But walk through Istanbul's Spice Bazaar at closing time, and you'll see what really survives, not the empires, but their flavors. The saffron that once colored sultan's rice now tints a student's cheap pilaf. The Persian rosewater that soothed harem concubines now sweetens a construction worker's dessert. This is Turkey, where every cobblestone hides a conquest, every meal tells a war story, and the past isn't just remembered, it's relived daily. From the Trojan warrior's sword to the Janissary's cyanide capsule, from the opium pipes of Ephesus to the pistachio smugglers of Gaziantep, this land proves one immutable truth: empires don't die quietly, they leave scars. And in Turkey, those scars still bleed. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end. Our video for today ends here. I hope you like the video, and if you like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe my channel for the best upcoming videos.